Karina and music team, you are simply awesome. Thank you so much. When my 19-year-old twins were 2 months old, a fellow Unity minister friend of mine called me saying, I would love to go and bless your twins. And she showed up and she asked for the family to surround the crib where my twins were blissfully sleeping. And she said, what is your intention for these twins? And I remember thinking and saying, freedom to be. At that very moment, I was very involved in the business world. I was running a family business to please basically my father and just follow certain society patterns, always with an inner conversation about when will I get to be a spiritual leader that I so aspired to be. So when I was setting that intention for my twins, it was really about me, about holding that for me. Isn't that what we are really looking for at all times, to be free? Isn't it what is aspire or led to the foundation of this country and what we celebrate today? Isn't freedom the highest human aspiration? The dictionary defines freedom as the right to act, speak, or think as one wants without restriction. I personally feel spiritually that to be free is to be so grounded in truth that nothing can really enslave us. This Kriya Yoga teacher that I follow, Ellen Grace O'Brien, says that freedom is our capacity to choose the thoughts, the actions, and the words that will not allow us to suffer. In unity, if we put it in more unity ways, it's to be so aware of truth, of the power that we are, that we really experience life without fear and thus free. Essentially, the way I see it, it's the only way to be free is really within the realm of the spirituality. That's why in 2 Corinthians 3:17, we read that where Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Now in unity, there are certain concepts that most has to do with our first principle that says that God is omnipresence and that God is absolute good. So if God is omnipresent and God is good, it means that the good is always present. It means that there is no condition or circumstance in the world where God's good is not. These are all core unity principles. I love Jesus' quote, it is the Father's greatest pleasure to give us the kingdom. It is the realization that only love is real and love is the way, and that is our essence. And these are the ideas of truth that are really the foundation of our personal freedom. So the key is, how do we maintain that awareness through spiritual practice so that we can stay free as much as we can? This might seem like, okay, yeah, we get it. We've heard about this before, but think of the opposite. Think of the concept of God being selectively good, and sometimes, or the Father as the source tends to be moody and maybe reluctant sometimes to bless us, or that fear might be the default and not love. And when you hear that, you probably feel not well. And you might say it again, I've been long in unity to know better. But think about it, the times that we really face the unexpected, the harsh, the difficult, we become that. We get disappointed, doubtful, and we go to a state of hopelessness. with everything that is currently happening in the world or might be happening in your life, you might be prone to feel like that at moments. And we might have to understand and admit that we are falling, we're tempted, that illusion seems real. You know that it's been now officially 1 month that I'm here in the position as associate minister. And the week that I was getting ready to finally come down was the week of the 3 different shootings, mass shootings. And I was thinking, at one level, I was so excited and looking forward to coming to Miami, being part of this awesome spiritual community, knowing that I want to be part of the mission and vision of what you guys have created for the world, seeing the magic of divine order at its best. And connecting with all the experiences that I had to go through over the last 10 years prior to me coming, that involved getting really sick of cancer. It involved changing careers completely. It involved relocating. It involved raising 3 kids and 1 with special needs. It involved getting a divorce. It involved starting a ministry from scratch. It involved building a new church home for the church that I was at. And it was all like different challenges, and then seeing how the more I would put these principles into practice, the more I would overcome and grow from them, and this inner call to serve growing and growing each time more. So I'm driving down to meet Juan del Hierro because I got here May 31st, and Juan said, June 1st, please come to the office. And I'm driving down 95 South, and just in this state of excitement with loud Latin music. If you ever come to my car, that's what you'll experience. And I'm there looking at the Miami skyline and going, yes, I did it. I had, some months before, had a meditation in which I received a very strong message that at some point I had to decide something that I needed to say yes to, and that I needed to know that I was going to be somewhat rewarded or reaping big rewards. And as I'm driving, I'm connecting with all of that. And then being in contact with this news about 19 children being murdered and killed in a school in Texas. Does it ever happen to you that you feel that you're on top of the world, that you know that life is working because you have worked your own consciousness, and that you're seeing the manifestation of your work, and you, on the other hand, experience or see the excruciating pain of others, and you go like, they might even develop a sense of guilt, because you're like, how can this be and how can this be? But it's really, I realize more and more that it's not about feeling guilty, it's about recommitting to the work you're doing, because as we awaken to the truth that we learn at Unity and that universal truth, the more we have to honor our path and make sure that we stay firm so that we help others do the same. I read, as I was preparing, I have to share this poem that expresses that. It says, wherever I feel helpless in this overwhelming world, I become a helper. Oh, on these days when I feel I have no power, I serve others. You see, whenever I wash the world's feet, my hands immediately stop shaking, and I know peace, and I reclaim my power, and I get back to work. And getting back to work is really staying firm in the truth that we know that there's only one presence, one power, and it's always good. And what we might be seeing out there is really the manifestation of a duality consciousness, as consciousness of separation, a consciousness that still sees the fear and separation as real. Like Reverend Chris was saying last week, there's always something out there that will feel threatening. And this last week, it was about the overturning of Roe versus Wade, the ongoing conversation about inflation, climate change, the war in Ukraine, and prior weeks were the mass shootings. And this is personally what hit me the most. I just could not, as a mother of three, could not control the emotion. So I would like to address something in that regard, because I believe that there's some truth and healing for us. The facts are shocking. I don't know if you're aware that the #1 killer of children in the US, more than car accidents, more than cancer, are guns. Over the last 2 decades, more school-age seniors have died from guns than on-duty police officers or active-duty military combined. And I tell myself, this is unacceptable, intolerable, and yes, painful. And I don't know if it happens to you, but when I face pain, I am triggered to search, to look for, to understand. So I went into analytic mode to understand what is really happening, leading to something like this. And then I went, well, of course, there's groups that want to maintain liberal access to guns because of the Second Amendment, politicians who want to stay in power by supporting these groups, manufacturers of guns that want to profit from increasing sales, citizens that feel that the only way to be safe is owning a gun, and then mentally ill individuals that are so wounded and abandoned and in lovelessness that the only way to release their pain is through violence, all leading to affecting the most vulnerable aspect of our society, that are our children. I'm glad that in a month there's been some impacting legislation taking place. And I believe that this is where we really, really, really need to be pro-life. And legislation helps, but it's not everything. And you know why it's not everything? Because while there's violence in us, it's not going to disappear out there. There's this Buddhist priest that used to come to our church. He moved to Australia. And he says that if we want to stem violence, we need to find out the root in ourselves. The founding fathers of this country had a vision that this may be the land of the free. And in ways we have accomplished that, in many, many ways. And in other ways we haven't. And all of that is being discussed right now. But then I question myself and I ask you, isn't that the way it is individually too? In many ways, we are free, we are solid in our consciousness, and in other ways, especially when we are facing the dark, the difficult, the hardship, we are not. We don't. Because our pain and our frustration allows us to see something else, and then we go into fear, hopelessness, we feel trapped, and then we completely lose our freedom. We need to be humble and acknowledge and say, where in me is that violence or state of separation? How, and I'm just going to speak about me, okay? How is my ego getting attached to power and money? How is my ego stresses out, or it stresses out when it's not in control or not running the show? My ego hates uncertainty and being in the unknown, feels very insecure when it's not winning, and it only feels safe under certain conditions. If these conditions are X or Y, then I feel safe. And when it's really, really, really affected, it attacks. And all these low emotions like anger just take over. Then I told myself, if this is so, then I can change that. If I heal, then there will be healing out there. And I'm thinking, as we celebrate 246 years of this nation, We have to remember we are the ones, especially those who are seriously on our spiritual path. So the true gun control is really a reform, or a reform of any other society ills. It's really a reform of consciousness. From that consciousness reform, the right and perfect outcomes always come about. And we might say, yes, it's about action. Yes, but action has to be preceded by inner action. It's like it's going deeper and deeper, because at the level that we go deep at, it's the level we're going to be able to reach out. Going deeper into this awareness of truth, of love, of compassion, getting rid of any state of separation, and that's how we reach out. But the inner action has to come first. That's why I'm all with a Franciscan friar, Richard Rohr, who says, if we take action on nonviolence without contemplation, there's a danger we'll bring in ego-centered thoughts and constructive anger, which could end up doing more harm than good. Contemplation. And when we really go deep in contemplation and practice, we hopefully come to the awareness that there's only one problem we need to solve. Like the Course in Miracles says, the only problem we really have is our state of separation from the one. So when we get unified inside, then like higher powers take over. Our executive director for Unity Worldwide Ministries put it beautifully during our convention. He says, everything that ails the world today has a spiritual solution. And I added, and love at the core. So I would like for you and I just to take a deep breath right now, and maybe if you feel comfortable, bring your heart to the center, the hand to the center of your heart, and pledge this with me at this moment. I'm going to allow you to read it first so that it really kicks in. And now affirm with me. I commit to realization that only love is real, and I recognize the ultimate non-existence of anything else. This way I gain the freedom and the power of a miracle worker, a channel for God in His will, that only love prevail. And this is what we here at Unity on the Bay are standing for, to allowing love to prevail. In that 5-year plan, in that leadership efforts of creating working groups and going for the big vision, it's really the underlying energies to allow love to be that mission of being a catalyst for awakening and evolution in the name of love. When President Biden left the church in Uvalde that sad afternoon, a grandmother who had just lost her granddaughter approached him and gave him a handwritten letter. It read, "Erase the invisible line that is dividing our nation. Come up with a solution to fix what's broken, and make the changes that are necessary to prevent this happening again. We now know that it's not merely in the hands of the president, nor in any other branch of government. It's you and I. Elevating the rhetoric. So that's why I would like to rephrase those words and addressing it to me and to each one of you. Erase the line that is dividing you internally. Come up with a commitment to fix what's broken in you and make the changes necessary to be in the freedom that will allow you to show up as the presence of love, faith, and unity that God needs you to be right here and right now. So I close with words from Nelson Mandela. For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. Namaste.
Thank you, Anna, for those beautiful words and a reminder that we are the miracle makers and, above all, a channel of love. So we choose to be free in this moment and set ourselves free to be that love that the world is looking for. I want to also let you know that with Reverend Anna coming on board with us, there are big plans for the Spanish ministry. And so, we're excited about what's coming next for that ministry. And we want to let you know to start telling your friends, tell your families, those that may appreciate the unity message in the Spanish language, that it is coming, right? And it's starting today, especially. We are kicking off a new program called Encuentro Espiritual. It's a Sunday celebration that's virtual, and you can now catch it on our Unity on the Bay YouTube channel every Sunday, starting today at 4 p.m. So it's a combining of work between Unity on the Bay and Reverend Anna's past ministry at Unity of the Triangle in Raleigh. So get the word out. If you speak Spanish, check it out today at 4 o'clock. If you don't speak Spanish but want to get the feel of it, right? Because the language of love is simply the presence. Right? So make sure that you check it out and let other people know about it. Now, we at Unity on the Bay and in Unity believe in the power of the spiritual law of giving and receiving. That opportunity that we have to not only receive all of God's good in our lives, but to then be able to extend it, as Reverend Anna said, so that others may experience freedom also. So we encourage you now to give to our mission, our vision, and who we are as a spiritual community. And we encourage you to do so by preparing your love offering and giving in gratitude. Now, you can go green by texting GIVE to the number that's on the screen, 833-245-5645. Or if you need an envelope, if you're in the room, just raise your hand. And one of our ushers, Annette, is there giving out the envelopes. Now, we believe that giving is a spiritual practice, and so we're going to give you a few seconds in the silence to just allow the energy of abundance, generosity, and love to infuse your giving. We thank you already for the gift that you are to Unity on the Bay and the gift that you are giving in this moment. Let us bless these love offerings together. Divine love that I am blesses all that I give and all that I receive. Now we're going to take this moment to also bless the children of the world. And especially, we're going to focus some of that energy with the kids zone, the kids that are with Raul in this very moment. And I invite you to bring your hands to your heart, or maybe even extend them and open them wide to receive all of the children in the world right here and right now as we bless them together. Children, we love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. We behold the Christ in you, and we see you doing great things. Now remember that at the core of who we are, there is prayer. So if there is anything that is in your heart that you would like one of our prayer chaplains to pray with you on, prayers for healing, prayers for peace, prayers of gratitude, after the service, you can come and speak to one of our prayer chaplains. As I invite our prayer chaplains to come forward so that they can see you, you can just check in with them after the service. If you're online, you can put a prayer intention in the comments, and one of our prayer chaplains will respond to it in the next day or so. And with that, I'm going to invite Reverend Anna to come up so that she can lead us in our prayer for protection. And as she does, next Sunday, I'm going to be speaking, and the theme of the message is really about the metaphysical understanding of the Bible. So this is really about what is in your heart, what is in your mind. If there is a particular verse or story or individual in the Bible that you just don't understand, or you'd like to understand it maybe in a different way, email me, because I'll be choosing some of those verses and creating a metaphysical interpretation of it and weave it into the Sunday experience. My email is Juan, Juan, at unityonthebay.org. So please go out there, email me, and let me know what you want to hear about next Sunday. With that, thank you, Reverend Anna, for a wonderful
Juan.
Sunday experience.
Thank you, and thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful rest of the weekend, and be happy, be free.
Good. So we're going to invite all of you to please stand so that we can say our prayer for protection and follow that with our peace song. Together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Bring it on.